Once again, we are now on Facebook Live at Energia Facebook, and we are very privileged to have Teressa here with us. And today she's going to share with us, be happy, be well. And Teressa, she's going to share her hypnosis. It is about integrative workshop using integrative holistic tools to boost the mental health well-being, and through breath, through sound, through movement, through quieting and holistic nutrition. Teressa will speak about ways on staying sane in good times and in bad times. And she will share cases and experiences on the global pandemic, on being positive in these most unprecedented times, and how to strike the right balance going forward. Learn from Teressa the fundamental lifestyle adaptation to quickly shift your mentality and perspective. Build good energy to thrive, to succeed, and be well, be happy. Interact with Teressa and gain more insights to nurture yourself and your loved ones. And a bit introduction about Teressa. She's articulate, yes, she's a broadcaster, she's a journalist. She's happy, yes, very happy. She's very charismatic. Teressa Siu is happiest seeing her audience laugh in her wellness session. So please do that, laugh often and interact with Teressa, okay? Teressa is an international wellness speaker. She's a TV host and a mental health educator who is inspired to inspire her audience to be well. You will learn holistic tools to ground, to relax, to release, and to nourish, and quite a bit of food for thought. An experienced educator of journalism, communication, media, health, and wellness, Teressa is a qualified yoga teacher, integrative nutrition and health coach, and also a Reiki practitioner. Her mission on health and wellness takes her around the world. Her youngest audience is only 1.5 years old, and her oldest is 93 years old. Wow. She specializes in workplace wellness and has a special touch with the tweens and the teens. So Teressa is science advisor for global community health. Brices, is it?
Brices. Yeah, just Brices, Veronica. That's okay. Yeah, that's
okay. International organization that promote movement and healthy living for schools. Shall we put our hands together to welcome Teressa Siu?
Yay.
Yeah, very nice.
Yay, I like this. Everybody's already happy.
Forward.
Yes. Thank you, Veronica. That was a bit long to read, but you do it really well. You make a great host yourself now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks to COVID, right? Like and Zoom and social media, we all well trained to be on TV, yes. and anybody could be a TV personality these days, right? Am I looking okay? I look at myself. I look a little bit dark on screen, but I hope you guys can see me fine. It's all good, right? Yeah, just it's really dark in here in Hong Kong. It's trying to rain and it's a bit humid, and I think the lighting, because now it's the sun. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're all positive anyway. So yeah, so I think do you guys have any questions with me to start with, or should I just go right into my PowerPoint?
Any questions from any one of you? If not, yeah. Teressa will start her presentation, all right?
Yeah, and did everyone have dinner already? And fine. I'm always concerned about people making sure you eat, and Veronica knows that. So you know what? While I'm doing my presentation, you're welcome to have your dinner. Make sure your microphone is muted. But there will be some exercises, as I said, because I promise you there will be tools that I'll be sharing with you. So make sure you stop, swallow, and participate in those things. So because I want to make sure you have things to take away, okay? And also very importantly, yes, make sure you don't chew too fast, because that's also a tool that you need to learn, is chewing slowly could slow you down, and that's one way of maintaining your sanity. All right, let me share my PowerPoint. I know I sound so funny sometimes.
So pen and paper, get ready.
Let's see. I should get back to, yeah, if you want to let me go back to the first slide. We forgot to go back. Okay, so here's the title page. As you know, I love being happy. I love happy colors. And I think when we look at happy things, that also affects us, right? So make sure you do that as well, as much as you can in your, in your life, as you could do, you know, attach yourself to happy things, happy thoughts and all that. And that's what we're going to talk about. Just a quick, as usual, I always have a little bit of introduction about myself to show you a bit more photos. I normally don't do this too much, but in a session like this, when it's all about happiness, it's important to share. So let me see. Someone is saying something here, Veronica. Hang on. We're going to do this like a live show. Okay, cool. I think I have one person saying she may want to join. Um, so I'll just tell her she can join when she can. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, I have one of my students. I share, so it's okay. Okay, so it's all good. Anyway, so I am inspired to help people be happy and well. And, I've always been inspired through my own health and wellness journey to be well and happy at the same time. And I've learned a lot. And, I hope that I could, through these sessions, is to share as much as I can. Like I said, I have, 90 minutes, but I need about 90 hours, and still there's not enough time to share everything. And so make sure you do participate. Now, me, love food on the left side. I love bright colors and I love traveling. So everywhere I go, I do present this light, that because I'm a very people person. And as Veronica mentioned earlier in my bio, my youngest audience is 1.5. And I need to explain that, because some people start scratching their heads like, what does she mean? How does she talk to a 1.5-year-old about health and wellness? Well, the story is, Veronica hasn't been on my cruise ship yet. I don't own one, but I do speak on one. For the last about 4 years, I've been speaking on, there's a ship in Singapore. Do you guys know about the Genting Dream?
Yeah.
That was that was a ship, my maiden ship, that I started my voyages on speaking engagements on cruise ships. Yeah, they hire me as one of their first speakers to talk about engagement, meaning we wanted to present information or classes to the cruisers or the passengers, so that they are taken care of on the ship and they're learning something educational yet fun and inspiring, and then they take it home and they could help their loved ones. They could, influence the people around them. And that's how we started. And we started with the idea that we should talk about nutrition, because everybody eats, right? Why not talk about food? And when Veronica and I started collaborating, when we met, we did food. We had a Christmas party for 100 people, and she made me cook for all of them. So she was like, how do you do that, Teresa? Well, miracles happen when two crazy girls get together, and we just make things happen, because we're very positive people. So that's how it works. Okay, so make sure you guys get a little crazy today in this session. Okay, so who I am, Veronica already introduced. Tons of qualifications, still learning a lot, from broadcasting, journalism, to communication, to health and wellness. Just a little bit of information about how I really got into this journey. Well, in 2008, I actually moved home from Hong Kong, meaning I moved back to LA, because that's where I grew up. And my entire family is there. I come from a huge family, and so Americanized in so many ways, but still very traditional and very Chinese. I do speak Chinese, right? Cantonese and Putonghua. And, I was taking care of my dad. And then he, at old age, he passed away in 2010. And, I was kind of at the crossroads, but I think taking care of him and being with my family actually really inspired that all the gifts that I had naturally had born with was like, okay, I need to do something with my journalism career and my role as a media person to really inspire people. And of course, I had to learn. By the time then and now, it's been so long, things have been getting more clear and clear. And that's how I started with food. General thing about, okay, how do we stay physically healthy and kind of like mentally healthy? But something was really brewing underneath, was really getting into having the title as a mental health educator, because all along I have been talking about mental health, but I did not use that label. So here we are today. You're looking at a yoga teacher, at a health coach, Rafa chef, and in between, when Veronica was busy doing her mission and I was on my mission, I became an advisor for an international organization, and I was headhunted, and very grateful. So all the angels God has been sending to support me on my mission, and in between, I've become a level 2 Reiki practitioner. So I do healing on the side, which I don't really talk about a lot because I tend to think of myself as an educator and a speaker more, because really that's where my natural gifts are. And therefore, all the teaching experiences, all the communication, all the broadcasting all come together to fulfill this mission and propel everything forward. Okay, enough about me. Okay, so about you. And firstly, again, thank you so much for being here. You are the reason that I am here. So I'm really, really grateful. This is for you, but mainly I'm here to facilitate and as a messenger of health and wellness to provide you information so that you could live life lighter and deal with problems with more tools, with more positivity, with more power within you. And that's what Veronica talks a lot about all the time. And I think all the speakers that we have throughout the 3 weeks in this summit have something unique and really important to share. Now, so I want to ask you this question. Do you ever ask yourself, what makes you happy? I know ever since I was a little girl, money doesn't make me happy. And I have my friends who think that I'm crazy. Like, Teresa, you don't care about materialistic things. It's very true. I mean, I'm happy too when I have materialistic things, but I'm also mostly happy when I don't go hunt for it, when I am grounded and when I could be truly myself, like when I could be that happy clown. That's what makes me really happy. And when people just let me be who I am and radiate and share what I like to share and let me eat. Veronica obviously feeds me very well when I'm around, like that, and I feed people really well. So like that, just to give you an example. So I want you to start thinking about what makes you happy and what makes you unhappy, right? So let's do this, because today is about taking care of you, and everything begins with self-care. And we said this in my bio as well in the synopsis of my talk, it's so critical, especially at this day and age, that we take care of ourselves. Now, earlier we were talking about my job as is to inspire you to take care of you, and it's really important because we don't want to get sick and drain and stretch the medical system around the world, which have been in such dire states where nurses, doctors, everybody's overworked, right? And therefore, about 10-15 years ago, we started having this thing about health coaches and dietitians all coming in, and lifestyle educators like myself to help people, on a daily basis using lifestyle adaptations to look after our health. Because it's not just our physical health. Remember, everything is interlinked. Our mind, how we think, our thoughts, whether they are positive, whether they are negative, and the way we eat, the way you chew. I mentioned this earlier. So if you're eating your dinner, please make sure you chew slowly, because digestion begins in the mouth and not in the gut. Different, very different. Okay. So I want you to think about relationship today. Everything about you is all relationship. Okay, so your words, your thoughts, your speech, the way you speak, your breath, all right, the way you breathe. Okay, we're going to learn to do that. All these things we're going to touch, into all these aspects today. All right, and the way we eat, your food choices, and the way you look at yourself, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your work, and your relationship with your loved ones, or not loved ones, just colleagues, passerbys, someone on the bus. It's all relational. Okay, our physical health is related to what? The way we think. Everything I talk about is at a cellular level. All right, good. So think about that, and just what makes you happy. Okay, so is everyone familiar with this tree? So important. This is a symbol of wellness, and this is what I'm all about. The symbol of wellness, and look at the tree. How is it rooted? Do you see? If you don't need to be an artist to figure this out. Look at all the beautiful colors. It's the color of the rainbow. And look at what's at the root of the tree is your heart. So what we're doing here is learn to root ourselves in our heart space. The head gets really strong. We call that the monkey mind. And I've been through this many, many times. The mind is evil, guys. The mind is evil, but the heart is always pure. We have to learn to ground ourselves in pure love, unconditional love. And how do we do that? So we're going to do all of this today. Now, so the tools would be, today I will provide you with a holistic toolbox through breathing, through understanding our mind, how we could be in more of a positive mindset. And we'll do some movement, some quieting, of course, and then we will talk about food. So it's I call it an integrative toolbox because it is really that much that is required to keep everything well from head to toe. Because, a lot of the times we focus on our physical health. We go to the gym, we do yoga. And of course, yoga is a lot more than the physical being, but that's not enough, right? Because as I keep saying today, head to toe, mind, breath, the way, we feel, the way we think, everything is all together and we have to do all of it. So when we exercise the body, we have to exercise the mind. Yeah. But when we do too much, we have to quiet down. So it's about the balance, which we've been talking about a lot today. And you know what? Everybody eats at least 3 meals a day. Some of us more, like me, I'm trying to get fit. So I'll do about 5 meals. I'll do, a meal every 2 hours. I did that today. I probably eaten 6 or 7 times today, which is fine. Keep our energy up, right? So all this together is interrelated, and we're talking about energy. So it's a holistic toolbox for good energy, good vibes, and keeping physical and mental health well. Now, let me ask you this. Does any of this cost you money? I did promise you an integrative toolbox for your good health and well-being that does not cost an arm and a leg, right? Your breath, we were born with it. First thing that comes, the last thing that goes. Mind, we have, right? Movement, do you always have to go to the gym? Do you always have to go to a yoga class? Nah. What about quieting? Are you able to sit at your home for like a few minutes a day or whenever you need to? Just shut your eyes and just sit there and breathe and do nothing but sit there and breathe? Does that cost you money just to quiet down? No. I see Alan nodding his head and nodding and shaking. And it's all good. What about food? Okay, that's gonna cost you money, but eating good food and right nutrition doesn't really have to cost an arm and a leg. Organic foods may be a bit more expensive, right? Singapore is an expensive city. I know that, and so is Hong Kong. But I've taught people like refugees how to eat on a $40 coupon with really good nutrition. I've done that. It's possible. All you need is the knowledge and the wisdom to be inspired. And remember 3 letters today. ICA. Can anyone guess what that means? Intention, commitment, action. Now, when I say intention, what does that mean? Like today, you set an intention and committed and taken action to come to my talk and this summit. Obviously, a lot of your repeaters and you're going to continue until the last day. Okay, intention. So today, I'm not able to talk to you yet, so I don't know where your level of health is at or what you want to do and what your next goal will be. So what if I do this, like someone says, Teresa, I'm going to start meditating. Great. Does it have to be right now and tomorrow? No, but you could set an intention, and we talk about divine timing all the time. So when everything is, when you're ready, it'll just happen. Like today I woke up this morning, go, oh, I'm just going to start toning a bit more and I'm going to work certain muscles. I did that before breakfast and I was so proud of myself. But that's taken weeks or even months because I've had injuries like the last 2 years almost, and I couldn't really work out, like I normally would. So just to give you an example, okay, so intention, commitment, action, and take baby steps. And I'm not saying listen to Teresa today and just be like her and go bang, bang, bang and do all the, fantastic things. Please don't do that because it's another form of stress, okay? All right. So you know what? Actually, let me go back to the previous page now. I did promise to take care of you. So if you're eating dinner, get ready because I need you to stop eating. And if you're sitting perfect, can I have you sit on the edge of your chair? We're going to do our first exercise, okay? To take care of you. But we do need to ground because we've had a really long day. So if you could sit at the edge of your chair with your legs hip width apart. I am a yoga teacher, so I give yogic instructions. Okay, if you can, we tend to slouch because if you've been on the computer a lot, it's fine. It's perfectly normal. You're only human, so congratulations. But you could do this because the body is so smart. It could do the most magical and miraculous things, right? So open up your chest. Okay. Now pull your shoulders away from your ears. So now if you were standing, you would have your ear over your shoulders, your shoulder over your hips, over your knees, and then over your ankles. But since we're sitting down, it's fine. As long as your ears over your shoulders and your chest is open and your shoulders are over your hips, you're perfectly fine. Now do one thing for me. Pull your navel in to support your spine. Now then you lift your spine upward, but without pulling your shoulders up. Good. Now you could do this all the time in your office, right? Now, if you ever work on your desk, try to do this because then that gives you better posture and that gives you better composure. Now, guys, when you could do this, what is it this doing? Instead of slouching, because this is a different energy, then, whew, isn't it? You feel more uplifted, you feel more supported. And this is why it's so important you draw your navel in to support you, even when you're walking or when you're sitting down. It's so important, this yogic posture, this anatomy that we have to understand is so important. Okay, so we talk about breath, right? You know, some of us are so busy. Can I ask you to start maybe considering your first intention is to start doing breath work or a breathing exercise, or as simple as this, just to sit like this, exactly the way I told you. And then we're going to take it to the second phase. Can you close your eyes for me? Good. Relax your face. Relax your forehead. Good. And smile. And one of my teachers used to say, even if you have to fake it, just smile. And then everybody laughs at this point. It's okay because that shifts your energy. When you are telling yourself that I'm stressed or I'm upset, I'm angry, that only is going to multiply. So if you can multiply on a negative thoughts, why not multiply something positive? Manifest that. Okay, good. Relax. Everything is good. Now, most of us crinkle our foreheads because we think so much. How about this? Firstly, focus on your forehead or that area in between your eyebrows. Now, I want you to shift the focus to the tip of your nose. And then all I want you to do is to listen to your breath. And I want you to take note whether it's shallow, whether it is long, is short, hampered, whatever adjective that you could come up with, take note of that. And all I want you to do is just sit there and listen to your breath and focus inward. Nothing else matters at this point except quieting and listening to your breath. Maybe you could do this 1 minute whenever you can, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. And also take note of how that feels when you're just focusing on your breath and inward and nothing else in the outside world matters. Take note. Good. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Wow. Take a look in the mirror to see how relaxed you are. Your face, some of you, I see a glow on your face already. Okay, so to take care of ourselves, right? Something that's simple is really giving yourself permission to just quiet down. You know, when I was a journalist, like running around 24/7, or I'm like, you know, in the old days, you remember those pagers or beepers, they call those? You know, and as a journalist, I'm on call 24/7. And so the last time I was working a full-time journalist, Veronica, remember I was in Beijing in
Yes.
2013 and 2014. Oh my goodness. It was still great, but I mean, often my sleep is interrupted. But, you know, but already then I already started doing yoga and meditating. But years now, I mean, you know, I take more time to quiet, and I actually live a very quiet life, and that helps me. So make sure if you guys could do that is to start doing something that's simple. It doesn't have to be long, just a minute. Like I said, start with a minute. And whenever you feel like, you know, when you throughout your day, when you feel overwhelmed, this is really good exercise to do. Just shut your eyes. And if you forget the breathing part, fine. just sit there, with good composure and just quiet down and just tune in. All right. Now, to take care of ourselves, should we understand our stress? I mean, with the global pandemic and, even here in Hong Kong, we've gone through social unrest. How much do you know about yourself? Firstly, how you feel, and are you allowing yourself to feel? And I do these talks around the world, and sometimes I get a lot of men in here, and culturally they're not allowed to feel. I'm like, this is no good. You have to feel. So you start taking notes. How do you feel at this moment? Before I started to talk, and then in between, and then after the exercise, it doesn't matter. What about overall, when all this pandemic hit us? And throughout all these, it's been like over a year, right? So how have you been feeling? It's perfectly okay. And I just have some examples here. It's okay if you're frustrated, stressed, anxious, but what is causing all of this? Do you know? And now one of the interesting words is that I had a guy, a colleague a client in Bangladesh. I was doing a corporate talk with a huge corporation there through my agent in Bangladesh. And he came out with the word guilt. And that's why I added this. And it was interesting because why do you feel guilty? And he said, Teresa, I feel bad because I couldn't take care of my loved ones. And so much was happening. Either there was a death in the family or some cousin of his was, got infected with COVID. And then there was another person was saying, well, Teresa, don't want to be a source of negative energy. Well, guys, none of this is your fault. You're only human. Nobody planted this virus. No one, made you go, infect somebody else. I mean, everyone is innocent and we're all on the same boat. So please delete, 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 delete. Okay, you're only human. So know this, but whatever you're feeling is perfectly okay. But the idea is don't let it prolong. Like this guilt is going to, what happens with these emotions when we don't deal with them? They're going to go into all these different cells that we have. And like, anger is going to go into the liver, right? Guilt is going to go into where? The heart or somewhere. And then, a lot of shame will go into the hips. So remember I was talking about relationships earlier? How we think, how we feel affect us at a cellular level, and then it manifests into physical illnesses and diseases, right? And we don't want that. And this is why we're here today. And how could we deal with stress and anxiety differently is by having these little tools. Okay, so if you were running out of your breath, some of you remember I told you to take note of your breath. So you were assessing your own breath or your own breathing. How was that? If you're short of breath all the time, that's telling you something about your mental health well-being. And if your shoulders are like tight all the time, what's happening? Or if you're slouching more and more over the years, what's happening? You're holding on to a lot of emotions and you're not releasing them. Or it's simply stress. We don't actually have to give it a label, whether it's guilt, whether it's depression. It doesn't matter. You have to release it. And this is why on a daily basis it's important you practice yoga. It's important you practice breath work, or you take some time to quiet down. Okay, so I want you to take notes. If you please share with me later how you feel. Now, why do I mention this in the title is stress, immunity, anxiety, or stress, anxiety, immunity? Well, they're all related. And I talk about immunity a lot because, especially at this time, we all have to be extra cautious. But even sometimes being extra cautious, we create stress, don't we? And all that anxiety, because it comes from the unknown, it comes from uncertainty, it comes from feeling threatened. And that's okay. We're all human, but do we want to feel like this if COVID's going to go on for another 2 years? So, when this all started, I actually, because I've been working from home for many, many years, and I was invited to, to talk about this subject. And one of the things that I talk about was, well, people started getting really anxious. Like in Hong Kong, we have very small homes. Most people have. And, all of a sudden, everybody was working from home and feeling bad and getting into each other's hair. And all that stress, I was like, what are you guys going to do, people? So many people in Hong Kong had to start learning how to manage, the space concerns and who's going to do what first and how to maneuver everything. And then my clients in India and Bangladesh, all of a sudden, like some of the corporate executive being women, they were all working from home, and because they were in a lockdown, nobody was able to access their helpers, right? So all of a sudden my female clients were having to do what? Be the cook. Be the helper, look after the elderly. And Indians and Bangladeshis, they all live in the same under the same roof, right? Although they have bigger homes, because if they're working for a corporate, they have they have pretty good money standing. But hey, it's been difficult. But nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. None of us do. Even if you're married to somebody, or even you have a great job, you don't know if you're going to get fired tomorrow, you know? So, how do we deal with all this? We ground. And the exercise that I showed you earlier, the breathing and the planting the feet parallel hip width apart and drawing your navel in, all that is strengthening your core. All that is grounding you on the ground, because when our feet touch the earth, Mother Earth is giving us that energy to ground us. And this is so important. Okay, now stress, anxiety, none of that is inevitable. All of us have it. The question is, we have it less and we deal with it better. And this is why we're here today again. Now, stress and immunity has a huge impact on our immunity. Why? Because the minute you're stressed, the minute you start going short on breath, guess what? You're like, and your immune system just goes into fight and flight, defense system. And when we are constantly in defense, it weakens everything that we have. And we don't want that. We don't want that. We want, especially at this time, well, always, we want a strong immune system so we don't get sick. Prevention. Okay, so do your breath work. Simple as that. Sit down, quiet, breathe. Okay, good. Next slide. Good. So understanding the root causes of your stress. Okay, we talk about uncertainty. We talk about the unprecedented times like COVID, pandemic. But everything in life is unpredictable, isn't it? And there's always so much outside noise. And speaking from somebody who used to be a full-time broadcaster, goes, forget all this outside noise. Don't watch TV. Hey, it works. I don't watch TV anymore. I haven't, Veronica, I haven't been watching TV since I came back to Hong Kong. Like for the last 6, 7, I don't own a TV here. I'm right here speaking to you in my living room. I don't have a TV. And only specifically because 11 years ago, my healer in LA said, Teresa, what if you stop reading some books, or stop listening to radio or getting all that unnecessary information? And I go, okay, because he was healing me, so I just listened to him, and that's how I got into that habit. It's all good, and I'm really grounded. I don't get affected that much. But outside noises do really influence us, right? Because we're only human. So like if someone makes a comment about our hair, it's just like, what? No, we get conscious. But we could train ourselves not to be. Okay, we have to ground ourselves in the ways that when we watch TV and there's so much violence and gore or so much negative news, okay, well, let's not absorb it. And how do you do that? The only way is to ground yourself. And seriously, I started out with the wellness tree: heart, feet, ground. Okay, so practice all this stuff as much as you can. Remind, and we get effective. Oh, what did Teresa say? Yes, she said to ground. So what's the exercise? Okay, well, go do my breath work, or just, well, easy as if you shut off the TV, don't watch it. But still, sometimes our minds, scientifically, our mind is built to absorb and like negative things. Can you believe that? It's like God created all this thing and make us go through all this, right? So I guess it's a learning process, which we should be grateful for, because at least we have information to work with and tools to work with, right? Okay, so think about these things now. Is your stress level affected by outside noises? Are you constantly worried about other people's opinion? Are you constantly worried about your appearance and unnecessary things? Think about those things. Yeah, I think it's great to look good and feel great, but that is not the most important thing. I come from a very image conscious profession, but that doesn't mean it is important. And I'm not shallow like that, although I am concerned about how I look because I want to feel good, right? But that is not the most important thing. I spend a lot of time on making myself feel good, and that's an investment, and that's great. So monkey mind, right? We talked about this earlier. Is overthinking familiar to you? Being reactive familiar to you? Oh yeah, raise your hand. I got it. How about being frustrated? Easily agitated? Ooh, I've been there. And I'm a little bit of that now because I've been really, really training myself. And I've really, really learned to ground. And some of the stuff I'm sharing with you, I tell you, they're very simple, but they're very, very powerful. If you put them to practice on a daily basis or as much as you can, remember with intention, commitment, action, you're gonna get somewhere, you know. And it's not like you have to go to the moon with this. It's like all this, like, you know what, who do I want to be? I want to be at this next level. And like in 2001, when I started my yoga practice, I was a completely different person than this. And even 7 years ago, when I met Veronica, my energy was different. I remember someone told me, hey, Veronica's vibration is so high. Huh? What? I think we're okay. And now I understand a bit more. I go, okay, yeah, she's really way up there. She's grounded, she's got her belt, she's got her pillow. And you know what the thing is, she doesn't care about her image, and she doesn't really care what people think about her.
Yes.
Really admire that, because I was like, yeah, well, coming from this whole conscious, image thing, and coming from this person who was insecure, as a child, and growing up even into my adulthood, I was learning about my insecurities. And then I go, okay, now I'm pretty good right now, right, Veronica? Like,
Yes.
but that took work, man. That took a lot of work. And, I'm sharing this with you guys. It's an investment. It doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg, but it will cost an investment, time and effort, with intention, commitment, action. And it's going to have to work, because all of us is responsible for our, not just our physical health, but for our overall mental, emotional, physical health. Okay, our entire well-being is dependent on us, how we manage ourselves on a day-to-day basis. And stress is a big one. So then back to this question: what rattles you? What stresses you? So I talked about uncertainty earlier. So you can make a list, right? So you have a pen and pencil with you. Make a list. We could share all this later. It's good. I'm watching the time. It's all good. Fear, worry, and all of this have this regardless of the pandemic, regardless of somebody getting really sick in the house, regardless of whether we should go take the vaccine or not. Then are we always gonna constantly multiply or manifest on these negative emotions? We have a choice here. How many of you say yes? How many of you say no? Yay! Perfect. I say no to all of that. I had enough of that. You know what? You know, um, I've been through so much in the last like 5 years. By the time last year around this time, I was like, okay, this is enough. Worry about finances, worry about this, worry everything. Like, I've never been through so much stress in my life. Even at the time when I covered the war in Kosovo, I didn't have that sort of stress or fear. I was like, what's going on here? And you have to make a choice. Ground, ground. And that was my way. Grounding, using tools, doing my yoga, doing my breath work. And whenever I can, I go deal with because I live in the countryside, which is such a blessing. And I always choose to live in the countryside. And that really helps me a lot. And there's a greenery that's going to help you a lot, guys. And I've been to Singapore many times, so I know what you have access to. So no excuses there, okay? And wherever you are in the country, find something green to go look at. I have plants at home, and that helps us de-stress as well, because it helps us, relaxes us, right? The neural system, all that is good. So look at go through your list, make some words, and do a check-in into yourself and see where you are at, okay? And this is why I'm doing this, is to help you ground. Positive mindset. And you go, Teresa, you keep talking, like, give us a tool. Easy. How about we do this? So we've done the grounding, we've done planting the feet, we've done the breath work. All this, by the way, works at multiple levels, right? Multiple purposes. So how about we do a tapping here in the forehead? Can you guys do this? So you take your 3 fingers. This is called EFT, right? Emotional freedom tapping, or in Chinese medicine, we just call it tapping. Now we think a lot in our head, so tap. Yeah, fine. And then, tap around your temple. And you know what? You could do tapping in your entire body wherever you like. Light, very light. It's kind of like when Veronica give us her acupuncture with her pillows and her 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 waist patch, or whatever she calls it. I have all those things too, by the way. Her blanket. I have all of those. Okay, then do your left side, right? I only have one hand, so I'll rotate. Yeah, you use both hands because I'm holding on. And do the top of your head, all this. You know why? Because when we overthink or when we spend the entire day on our computer, what's happening? We have tension in the head and in the mind, and we want to release those. And this is why we go get a massage, have a scalp massage, have someone, when they wash your hair, shampoo your hair, do a massage on you. Now tap in the back of the hypothalamus. This is where all the negative thoughts go to. Yeah, am I right, Veronica?
Perfect.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, tap. And you know what? And sometimes we have tension in our jaw. You know why? Because most of us clench our jaw when we are overthinking, when we are upset, when we are overwhelmed, when we are depressed, when we have, whatever, so many things. And we clench our jawline. And we have so much tension here, then it goes to affect our neck. And this is why we have neck pain and shoulder pain. And then, it goes down to the legs and all of that, right? So think about those things. Does that feel good?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, let me put my microphone down a bit. Don't mind the scratch, the sketch. If you could just kind of roll your hands a bit. Yeah. So we take a little break from my talking. You could hear me still, right? Perfect. Good. And then a little bit yoga, like, you know what? If you could just hand your palm out like this and just fold it backwards. Yeah, that's going to stretch your arms because we are on the computer so much. Stretch it. Good. And you have access to your yoga mat. If you do this on the floor, it's going to feel so much better. And then you could feel like do it on the other side as well. But this is hard when our arm is straight, but you could try. Yeah. Good. And then do the other arm. So this way is good. Yeah, so we're really relaxing this. Good. And then bend the other way. We'll just do it shortly, but at least you kind of know what's there and you could kind of get that feeling. Okay, and then now you know what? Shake it out. This shaking is actually very good. Yeah. And so remember the tapping earlier? Like, look, you could tap here for your immunity, just 2 inches under your collarbone. Now, guys, I'm not the inventor of all these things. You could search on the internet. There's so much information. Again, my role is a messenger. I share information just like as I would as a journalist. Your job is once you're inspired by me, you need to go do more homework. Keep going with and find stuff that work for you. Find tools and information that work for you and look and be aware of, does this work? If it doesn't make you feel good, then it's not going to work, right? So it has to make you feel good. And these things make me feel good. So I'm sharing them with you. And then, another thing you could do is you could take your palm and just kind of tap your arms, your legs, your body, wherever, your shoulders. This is good when you work from home and in lockdown and you can't really go out and go get a massage, right? We just have to help ourselves. That's all there is to it. Okay. So very good stuff. So we're using different tools here. Okay. So how about this? I'm going to show you a video and I'll take a break from talking. The video is, you're going to watch it and it's called laughter yoga. And it's a way of doing sound as healing and also movement. So it's always a combination of things, right? For me, as I said, is an integrative holistic toolbox. And then I'll explain laughter yoga later because I do want you to watch it and laugh, okay? So just follow along. It's very easy. Okay, I'll explain a little bit. So you take your 2 hands and you take your 2 fingers and you just grab your earlobe. And you're going to see in the video is the teachers will be squatting. So you may want to just move away from your chair and do a little bit of squatting. But if you don't want to, you could just grab your ears and just watch the video and laugh along. Okay, let's do that. Da, 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 da. And Teresa sings from time to time. Not the greatest singer in the world, but who cares? There you go. Whoa. And let's laugh together. So turn on your microphones. I want to hear everybody laughing. Watch it. There you go. Come up. I want to hear everybody laughing. You're going to squat again. Did you get that? Why laughter yoga? Because Laughter yoga is invented by a teacher. I'm going to forget his name, in India. And he has over 1,000 branches in schools. Not just him, but obviously he has, proteges, and people learn from him, and they get certified. Laughter yoga is very good for focus, very good for releasing negativity in our minds and throughout our body. And as you can see, the squatting is good for our physical health. So we add a little bit of movement in there. So this is something you could do in your office or working from home, like way too many hours, or if you're like someone like Veronica who drives quite a bit, you could do that as well. Like, take a
Or
spot.
driving.
Yeah, you drive me exactly. Take a spot in the park and do laughter yoga. It doesn't matter. And the laughing, you know why it's so good? Remember what I said? Everything we do is at a cellular level. So when we laugh, what's happening? We're nourishing ourselves with positivity, our organs, our bones, and our joints and everything with all that laughter. And that's why it's important to laugh. And what else is happening when we're laughing? When we laugh, we're relaxing our jaw lines. And remember, I talked about earlier is we clench our jaws a lot. And then it hurts our neck. It creates tension, right? And then throughout our entire body. So when we laugh, it's a way of relaxing. And really, most important of all, it's a way of, like, without you knowing, it's actually removing, eliminating negative emotions and thoughts in our head, okay, in our minds. So now the idea is to get us to ease and peace, right? Yeah. So we want to be like this yogi here, all pink, soft love, my favorite color, and smiling all the time. And our faces relax. Very important here. Okay. So then now the question I want to ask you is like, Teresa, how could I get into all this stuff? Well, having awareness. What kind of person do you want to be? So I labeled this the conscious individual. What are some of the adjectives that you want yourself to be? And I do this in leadership workshops. So being well. For me, number one is being well. And I mentioned to you some of my personal experiences. When I'm not well, what am I doing? I'm overreactive. I'm not sleeping. I'm just antsy. I'm anxious, but I don't want to be any of that anymore, and I'm not. I'm well, I'm happy, I'm light, I'm healthy. So any of the words that you want, I want you to put that there, because that's going to help you set your intention and visualize what kind of conscious individual you want to be. Yeah, so add that to your list and feel free to share that later. Now I want to talk about I'll leave a little. I was going to do another exercise with you, but let's wait a little bit because we just did the laughter yoga. Now, another way to keep ourselves positive, obviously, is one of my biggest topics is food. Do you see that vegan burger there, Veronica? You're going to
Yes.
have that next time I see you. I will make that for you.
Nice.
This is one of my vegan towers that was featured in the Hong Kong Economic Journal, because a couple of years ago they asked me to do an interview in Chinese, and they wanted me to create recipes for people who work in their office, like, because it's too hot to get out and go buy food, right? And Hong Kong gets really hot and humid. So they said create 3 recipes that could just be done in a pantry and easy, and no cooking, no frills and all that. So this is one of the recipes. Now when we talk about energy, like, remember, go back to the last slide. How would you describe yourself? Like when you walk into a room, what would you want to radiate? Okay. So then all the things that we've been doing are important tools to put us into that state of being. But what about our food is also very important, because we eat, like I said, at least 3 meals a day. Some two, that's fine. But we eat. We're constantly eating. We're consuming something, whether you're eating multivitamins or something, drinking water or sugary drinks or whatever, you're still putting something into your body, right? So our food is very important now, especially at this time. I will talk about boosting foods, because I've been talking about immunity today. Okay, everything that we are, the way we are, it mentally, physically affects our immunity. So the food is energy. And what are you guys eating? Can you someone tell me? Write down what you're eating. Are you eating a lot of refined foods, packaged foods, processed foods, junk food, crisps or chips, French fries? All that is fine, but what is your ratio that you're eating? Yeah. And are you eating out a lot? Are you cooking a lot? Are you eating a lot of animal products? Or are you more vegetarian or vegan? Are you eating more organic foods? Now, what about foods that affect your energy and your immunity? Is your food making you very tired? Too much refined carbohydrates? Are you eating way too much sugar? If you have a sweet tooth, anything wrong with that? Not really, but we could change it. So, food and nutrition becomes such an important part of our entire being. Remember what Hippocrates said? You are what you eat. We are what you eat. No, we are what we eat. Yeah, you are what you eat. Do you believe that? I do. Because I really think over the last 11 years, the way I research food and the way I've been eating, it really affects my being. It really does. So, how about a plant-based foods? Can you consider that? Natural and whole foods. Omega 3s are very important, right? Especially for our mind. And we've been talking about that a lot. Fish oils, DHAs, your B complex. Why is that? If you're a vegetarian, your B complex, your B6, your B12, and your B5, all that's very important because we don't get B12, we don't get in vegetables and fruits. Yeah. So that's especially important. Yeah. Vitamin D3, are you guys having enough of that? Good for our bones, good for our immunity. Vitamin E is good for skin. Magnesium, you can name it. Now, guys, very make it simple. Alkaline foods, because when our body eats alkaline foods, it's not acidic or less acidic, because an acidic body actually is what? A hub for illnesses and diseases. So it becomes very important. Antioxidants, right? Your berries, your blueberries, all the berries are very important. Anti-inflammatory foods. Turmeric, rosemary, herbs are good, highly anti-inflammatory. As long as you're eating a plant-based diet and you're eating whole foods and natural foods, you're pretty good. Yeah, probiotics are very good for digestion. Superfoods, do we all have to eat superfoods? No, not really. What if you go to the wet market or your farmer's market, whatever, or your supermarket, you get your color vegetables. And if you get in at least 5 colors in your day, you're pretty good, and make that a practice. Okay, good fats. Fish oil is a good fat, right? Salmon is a good fat. I'm staring right at it right now. Avocado, yeah, I would avoid refined oils as much as I can, but it's inevitable because we need to use it for cooking. But it's still a good fat, isn't it? Yeah. So avocados, I try to have a lot more. And if you could eat fish, your cod, your salmon, your wild caught salmons, all that are fantastic. Yeah. Think about those things. Now, avoid sugars. Why? Because sugar is highly acidic. And what feeds on sugar? Cancer cells. They love sugar, and like, you give me more sugar, I'm gonna love this. And fruits are sugary too. But so the question is, should I eat fruits? Sure, you can, but stick to your berries and fruits that are slightly like less sweet. But again, then the question is, remember the balance thing. Like, you cannot avoid everything, right? And a lot of people love to eat, and I'm not the one to tell you don't eat this, don't eat this, don't eat that. But eat the good stuff with good balance. I mean, if you had to have a durian, which I love, by the way, eat it. But you know what? My thing is, I also have a very high metabolism and I go burn it off as well. So that's the key, right? So we're talking about balances and we're talking about information. How do you apply this information is also important, because it's not like the idea is not to restrict you where you create more stress doing this, but it's to like, wow, have all this information and have fun with it. And then go, wow, this is how my body reacts to this certain kind of food. It doesn't work for me. Maybe I should have something else. Wow, this is like, if I eat more junk food, deep fried foods, it actually makes me ache. Why is that? Or it makes me have a breakout in my skin. What is that telling you? Your liver is reacting to this particular food group that it doesn't like. So our body is constantly communicating with us. Either we think positively, negatively, eat the right foods, the wrong foods, alkaline foods, acidic foods. It's constantly giving us information. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, and this will be funny if some of you are like chewing this bite of something like, I got to stop eating this kind of thing. So I want to just to give you some general information. Your food and nutrition is very important. Just a note, guys, when we eat too much food that is not digestible and not absorbable, guess what's happening? It's actually creating a lot of stress on our digestive system. And when our gut is stressed, what's happening? It's sending a message to the mind, and then the mind sends a message to the body. I'm not happy. Therefore, all this stress is not good for me. And at a cellular level, it's then affecting the mental health. So I have a talk called Happy Foods for Beauty Inside Out. So that's when we talk about all the food things and how do we get into the positive mindset and what's what and what foods are good for the brain and all that stuff. So, brain nourishing foods at this point is also very good if you got stressed and you're worried about the future and you're constantly like anxious about everything that's happening. So your good fats will be good for nurturing your brain, both cognitively, right? And what's the other word that I use? Functionally. Well, that's also cognitive as well, but mentally, like think about it like that, emotionally. Okay. Now, food is also very important. That would affect your immune system. You know how they say you are what you eat. So if you eat happy foods, you're going to be happy. Yeah, because your body is going to respond to that. And if you eat like deep fried foods that are overcooked and you're eating a lot of like really heavy refined carbohydrates, you're going to feel heavy and you're going to have a lethargy and you're going to have a hard time digesting it. So that's affecting your mood as well, right? Because if you feel tired, you don't feel productive and you don't have the energy. So this all links back to how is your energy? And your food is another thing that affects your energy. And I talked about the mind earlier, the negativity, the negative thinking, overthinking, all that affects your overall energy as well. Okay? Very good stuff. And I started this video sooner than I thought. So why don't we do this, right? So I've been talking about a lot of food, quieting, eating, all that. We need to do a bit more movement. So we had the laughter yoga. I want to give you a recipe and you could dance and learn this. Is so easy. If I could find the cursor, that would be great. Um, watch this recipe. This video was produced and edited by my intern when we were, doing the interview for the academic journal. So watch it and I'll talk you through it. Yeah, let's dance. Yay! Banana, your favorite bread. Honey, Brazil nuts, pine nuts, cinnamon. Woo! I call it a sweet morning sensation, but this is an anytime food. Woohoo! Repeat. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Woo! Honey, diced nuts, cinnamon. Woo! Woo! Do you love it? Did you get a recipe? Did you get it? Okay,
Yes.
this is easy, right? It's like kind of like a sweet sandwich, but it's you could make your own combinations, but so filling and it's got all the nutrients in there. And I kind of modified the recipe that my healer gave me. And I like the Brazil nuts because it's really high in selenium and magnesium. It's so good. And you don't have to eat a lot of it, like maybe 2 a day. Or if you're making a sandwich, you crush it, right? Or crumble it, whatever you like to call it. And pine nuts are so great. And these are like nuts with really like good fat. It's really good for your brain. And cinnamon is good for digestion. It's very warming. And obviously, you don't have a winter in Singapore, but like, what if you were on, this is a food that you could have on the go. Like if you get to go out and driving and you could eat it and it's not messy at all. And you have banana because it's very, high in potassium. You get some iron in there. And then it's just such an energizing food. And you know what? It's guilt free. Don't put too much honey, please, because the honey is very high glycemic and glycemic load. If you could avoid honey, it's even better, but just could put a couple of drops and that's it. Okay, enough. It's too sweet. And for banana is really great, but try to use a banana that's just barely ripening, because if you know this, banana, as the more they ripe, the more sugar it's producing. And we try to avoid sugar, right? Because sugar is highly acidic and we don't want to feed our body with so much sugar. Moderation is key. Okay. So again, food is another tool or another way, another knowledge or wisdom that you could use to nurture yourself. Now, another thing here, and we've been talking about all this a lot today, is to root yourself. And I know we're getting close to 7 o'clock. We have, I mean, 8 o'clock. We have a lot of time, so no worries. I'm going to leave a lot of time for you to do Q&A. So let's give you another exercise to root yourself, okay? So what we have is we need to keep building our strength and our beliefs and our consciousness, and really just being a strong individual, mentally, physically, and really being grounded in a heart space. So remember the first exercise that I taught you? Sit on the edge of your chair, plant your feet firmly on the floor, close your eyes, shoulders away from the ears, your core is drawn in. Okay, then you switch your focus from your forehead to the tip of your nose and you listen to your breath. Good. Now I'm going to add a breathing exercise there. To This is a way of helping you um, boost your immunity and ground yourself at the same time. Okay, so we'll do this exercise. So listen to your breath and take notice of what it's like. Has it improved since the last exercise? And has it improved throughout this talk? It's all good. Whatever it is, it's all good. Just accept it and be grateful. Now from here, I want you to take a deep breath. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now inhale, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one, 10. Inhale, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale, 9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep your eyes closed, shoulders away from the ears. Stay relaxed. Think of how blessed you are. Now, another way to root ourselves is to be grateful. We can root ourselves so well in gratitude by being grateful for all the things that we have in life. I want you to place your palms over your heart. Good, and just keep focused on your breath, your breathing. I want you to mentally make a gratitude list. I'm grateful for Teresa. I'm grateful for Veronica. I'm grateful for my job. Grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my intelligence. I'm grateful for my hair. I'm grateful that I'm breathing. I'm grateful that I'm learning. Whatever it is, make that gratitude list mentally. And you can continue that list when we're done. You know, it doesn't matter. You just keep doing it. Keep making that list. Now, I want you to visualize there's a cloud, a dark cloud over your forehead. I want you to visualize and place all your negative thoughts and all your negative emotions in that dark cloud. And just hold it there. We're multitasking here. Now then I want you to visualize roots connecting you through your legs, down your feet, all the way with Mother Earth. Just visualize roots connecting you. I learned this from my teacher, so I thank him for this. want you to visualize this. Now, when you're ready, I want you to go back to that dark cloud. Make sure you have all your negative thoughts and anything that doesn't serve you in that dark cloud. When you're ready, I want you to visualize it like an elevator, and we're going to sink it all the way down through the head, the neck, the shoulders, the chest, down the stomach, down the hips, down the legs, down the knees, down the calves, and all the way down to the roots, and leave all that to Mother Earth. Dump it all to her. She can handle it. And thank her for taking all your problems and concerns away from you. Go back to that gratitude list. Keep building on it. Be grateful and root yourself in that gratitude. Now, I want you to visualize yourself surrounded by a ball of white light, protecting you, keeping you safe and feeling secure. And know that everything in life is okay. It will work out just fine. Now, then I want you to visualize a ball of golden light surrounding you, giving you double protection. You feeling safe and grounded in gratitude. Now, when you're ready, I want you to go back to your heart space. Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, slightly press your palms against your heart to lock that gratitude list into your heart space, into your heart. And just say, I'm so grateful for everything that I have at this moment in time. Nothing else matters. The past or the future, the next minute doesn't matter. It's right now is all that matters. And right now, you are feeling positive, you are feeling secure, and you are feeling rooted. And you are strong, inside out. You are strong in your heart, you are strong in your core, you are strong in your beliefs. Now, when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes just to see how you feel. So you could plant your tree, right? Love, not fear, seed of love. And that's what we've been doing here today, is planting a lot of seed of joy. Me time, so important, guys. And we had a me time for 1 hour today. It's all me time. Nothing else matters. I'm so present. I'm so happy. And you know what? I had dinner before this, and you know what I had? I had a sweet potato that was hardly sweet, and I had some cauliflowers. It was so nice. It's so grounding food for me, and I feel so good. So me time, guys. Whenever you can, pause, reflect, smell the roses. Really. And if you need help, please speak up. Allow yourself to feel, be human, shout, scream, sing in the shower, whatever, call me, whatever, write, burn, whatever. Okay. I'm here. Veronica's here. Ellen's here. Everybody's here. We have support. Just know that. But it is important that you don't keep things inside. Remember slouching? Going to be bad. And when you can, practice some of the tools that I share with you today. I know it's not a lot, but it's still really good. We covered everything. We covered the quieting, we cover the movement, we cover the food, we cover breath work, we cover so many things, meditation even, and gratitude. That's so important. If you need, the way to do this, have a buddy, right? And I hear said uni, this is for the high school and college and university students, but have a mentor, have a coach, but really have a buddy system. Get the support that you need. You're never alone. We're all into this together. Okay. Now, from time to time, please check in with your well-being. And I always say this, you could forget everything that I've taught you today. Do not forget to breathe. And with your breath, you could use this as an acronym. Check your breath. Is it good? What's the quality of your breathing? Make sure you take time to recharge. Eat well and have a positive attitude. And pay attention if you have any tension physically, even in your jawline, in your eyes, in your forehead, even if your hair is like starting to get dry, that's kind of tension. Are you in your heart space, or are you allowing your monkey mind to overtake you? And the idea is the intention is to try to be at ease as much as possible. Okay, so whatever you forget today, do not forget to breathe ever. Okay, and that's a way to check into your own well-being. It is awareness, and the information that I share with you certainly helps you boost your awareness to where you are at in your life with your health and well-being, and where you want to go with this. Certainly be light. And of course, I am, and you are in charge of how I feel, right? How we feel. Love yourself, take good care of yourself, choose positivity, and certainly choose love. And everything begins with ourselves. And after today, I hope that you are inspired, to take really good care of yourself. And with these tools, you will go and inspire your colleagues and your loved ones and all of that. Okay. And can I share this now, Veronica, at the end? And I'll stop the slideshow.
Sure.
Well, Veronica and I just thought, hey, we'll give you a surprise. So for all of you that are participating in the talk today, and if you're interested, I do wellness coaching and lifestyle coaching, and I do a really unique assessment that's so cute. If you give me your food journal, I will be able to tell you a lot of things about your health, and that shocks a lot of people, and people run away from me because they get so scared with the results. So if you want to do any of that, whether it's like I said, a health assessment, or a Reiki session, or yoga, whatever you like, we could talk about it. I'm offering a special. I normally don't do these things, Veronica. My goodness. It's funny. This is the first talk that I've ever done that has been so public and is share. Well, maybe the third one, but usually my talks are private. And but anyway, so you will get a special prize of $150 to pay for that session. And it's usually an hour. The health session assessment takes a little bit longer, like sometimes is an hour and a half. It depends on what information you provide as well. So if you're interested, please get in touch. You could WhatsApp me, or if you guys are still in our WhatsApp group, right, Veronica? I think that's okay to get in touch with me, or find Veronica and she'll hunt me down for you. So now I've spoken for an hour and a half. Your turn to talk. Do you guys have any questions? Like, is there any of the exercises that you need, more reinforcement in, or is there something that touched you? What inspired you today? Jeffrey or Godfrey, you have got something to say? Quiet people. We still have half an hour left.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Come on. Do you have any comments? We have 3 activities going on there just now. Laughter therapy is a very, very good therapy.
Oh my God, yes. That's so amazing.
Before I started the business, I was working with Salvation Army, and when I was taking care of 80 elderly a day, every morning I started with laughter therapy.
Oh, wow.
Of Laughter Therapy Club, who actually taught us laughter therapy for elderly. Even when they were seated on a wheelchair, they could laugh. So we teach people how to laugh. A lot of people forget to laugh, and laughter is the best medicine. Laugh it out.
You're right, Veronica. I mean, sometimes we forget to laugh because, we're so busy doing things. We're so busy doing so many things, and we're thinking and we're racing, and what's the next thing that we got to get done. And so we forget. So someone is saying something. Veronica, can you read that question for me?
Okay, I'm going to do that.
Thank you. This is the light's right on my eye, so it's glared.
Okay, it says,
Min, right? Is it Min? Studying
biomedical. I'm Min, currently studying biomedical science in Hong Kong. Is it Hong Kong?
Hong Kong U, yeah, wow.
Before I start to ask questions, I would like to thank you for your inspiring speech and presentation for this well-being. From this interesting talk, I have some parts I would like to hear more, and also I have some questions to ask you. Number one, I would like to hear more about the relationship between shorter breath and lower immunity. Is it right that shorter breath constantly trigger our body's fight and flight tension, which will actually ruin the immune system? That's question number one. Can it be interpreted as higher respiration rate compared to normal respiration rate may indicate the risk of lowered immunity?
That's right. Well, it's exactly, well, I think you answer your own question there. Because we're meant to breathe well, right? And most of us don't actually. It's because we're too busy. We're all in our head. So we tend to just hold our breath. And what is that doing? Is limiting our respiratory capacity. And I think Veronica, for someone, I think when we met, we talk about this. Most people have shallow breaths, including me, and this is why it's good for me to do my nature walks. It's good for me to do my yoga, because when I'm in like lately, I've been practicing longer breathing, and I could only do that when I'm on my yoga mat and I'm doing yin yoga and I'm holding my poses for longer periods of time. And this is why we have these breath work and breathing exercises, because that's when we are, in a way, nicely forced to breathe properly. Does that make sense? Because in the contemporary people, many of us really don't breathe properly. Okay. And in order to have the maximum breathing and respiratory capacity, and keep our respiratory system in check, is to breathe properly. And that's why when it's short of breath, or when the breath is shallow, or when it's tight, it's constricting all the pulmonary activity, and we want to be able to open. And this is why in yoga we have open our chest, like we do these things. And this is why when I asked you to ground, I wanted you to open your chest, because this opens up everything, right? And also in life, we want to be open and not, restricted and constricted, and we just want to open up. Yeah, I hope that makes a lot of sense. And again, with stress and anxiety, all that is what? It's suppressing us, it's repressing our cells, and they're not happy. And so when your cells are not happy, or when your liver is not happy, how could your immune system be happy? Because again, they're all related. Okay,
Yes.
so I mentioned earlier, like if you eat junk food, your stomach is not happy, your intestines are not happy, so how can the rest of you be happy? So remember, what I'm trying to do here, it's over the years I go, you know what, Teresa, it's not just yoga, like getting all your asana poses in, but it's everything, Teresa, is everything. And so I go, you know what, I might as well do these talks and make it an integrative toolbox to inspire people. Because as I said earlier, it's not about just going to the gym and lifting and building strong muscles. Other things are your muscles too, right? Think about your breath as your muscle. Think about your immune system as one of your muscles. Think about your, what else, your stomach as one of your muscles, like then they all need to be trained positively. Yeah, and we don't want to do things to ruin them and less their functions, right? Minimize their functions. Okay, what's the
How
other one?
healthy is pork rib soup?
Pork rib.
But Teresa is a vegan.
No, that's okay. I mean, Veronica, I mean, I know enough food, and I grew up with the Chinese diet. Pork rib, now first of all, how you're making it. Two, what what does your pork rib look like? Because there are different parts, and some of them had come with more fat. So if you're going to use pork rib, my mom is also very health conscious. In our home, we cook very healthy food. We have to make sure we, how you do a Chinese style, you put it in cooking boiling water, and then you take out the fat bits. Okay, I mean, if your body needs meat, it's fine. I'm not against anybody eating meat. So, if you're an O especially, you will need meat. And if you're a B, you need a bit of meat. And if you're A like me, you probably need more plant-based foods. But there will be A people who eat meat. And there are people who think that being vegan and being vegetarian is not enough for them. And that's fine. Again, I'm teaching you to learn about you. So you have to decide what's best for you. And you have to be aware of how your body is responding or reacting to whatever food or lifestyle nutrients that you're putting into your body or your physical your being. Okay, um so what else are you putting in your pork rib soup, may I ask? Like, are you doing a vegetable, or what is the recipe?
Bakute.
But oh, bakute. I mean, bakute is known for that's a herbal remedy. It's known for, warming. It's known for giving you strength, and is very good for women after the menstruation. But okay, look, if the only thing I could pick out is if your pork is full of fat, then that's not good. But if so you got to clean up the fat, because animal fat is highly saturated, right? And you don't want that, and you don't want it to clog up your intestine and your arteries. Okay, so clean up the fat, and that's fine. That's really fine. And bakute is so good for so many people, and that's part of your Singaporean culture. We don't do bakute in Cantonese culture, but that's okay. Yeah, so if you're eating animal products, clean up the animal fat. Hmm? Yeah. And if you could cook it with, like, natural ingredients as much as possible, spices and all. That's great. What's the next question? You
You
have,
have introduced us to lots of ways to achieve well-being. If
yes.
possible, can you introduce us to some ways of measuring mental well-being?
Well, I said those along the ways, but I could repeat them. So remember the last slide I had was um, the breathing part, right? So if you look at your slouch, that's one of them. If you feel your shoulders are quite tight, right? Or like if you tap your head, like like you touch your temple and your head, they're tight, right? So if there's tension and tightness in your body, the chances are that's telling you you've been either overthinking or overstressed, right? Now your breath is always good. Remember the first breathing exercise. If you are short of breath, that's one way of measuring your well-being, right? Now, if you're reactive, isn't that another way? But if you're responsive, it's another way of telling you that you're not so sensitive. But remember to understand the root of your sensitivity. Why are you being so sensitive? Why are you being so reactive? Like if someone tells you, hey, you're no good at doing this, like why should you be offended, for example? Yeah. Like, I have a lot of friends and I used to be overly sensitive because I had to work through my insecurities, and I had to learn that in my spiritual practice that, wow, this is just mirroring something is about me that's insecure. So, if you're constantly reactive to, remember I talk about outside noises, so other people's opinions, media, anything, and I was thinking like one of my friends she reacts to everything. And I go, my God, that's a lot. So you could measure that, be aware of how you're responding to people's behavior. That's another way of measuring your well-being. What if you're light all the time, like you're like me and you're dancing around, and another way to measure your well-being is your sleep. And Veronica's a sleep
You
expert.
sleep peacefully.
Yes, to sweet sleep, right? We always say sweet dreams, 睡得好一点, Oh my God, most people don't sleep well. That's another sign of stress. And I've been through
Absolutely.
crazy, like there was a couple of years that seriously every night I was not sleeping because I was thinking. I was really ungrounded. And until I learned to ground myself and I pinpoint what was wrong, and you know what? I start telling myself sleep, sleep. And I just know away these days. I really do. And I feel good. I see the difference. Like my eyes are bigger and there's more light, there's more shine. So these are ways, you could even look at your face, right? Like if you got dark circles, like we do face readings. If you got dark circles and your skin's a bit dry, and then you also, I talk about lethargic earlier, right? You feel tired and not lifted and not able to move your finger, kind of things. Another way of measuring your well-being. If you have a habit of going for junk food, remember I talk about food choices. If you tend to go for junk food more, processed foods more, it is telling you something about you. And this is why I say if you do a health assessment with me, and I'm not doing this as a sales pitch, by the way, um, you will be surprised what I will tell you. You're like, what? Or like, I never thought about this. Yeah, And if some like people who have acne, you got breakout skins, that is telling you something about your liver. There is something that your body is not liking, and that is usually linked to emotional stress. So many ways you could look at your own well-being. And even if you're exercising, like, can you lift your leg properly? Or you feel like your body just feels heavy. That's another way of measuring your well-being, right? And what if this, I mean, are you excited to go to work? There's a lot of people that work for the sake of working. They don't have a life purpose and they don't have a mission and they don't have passion. They're just working because they need to earn money for a living. Are you one of those people? And do you roll out bed? One of the things I do is rise and shine, Teresa. I do, I roll out of bed, I go, rise and shine, Teresa. And, I seriously do a roll and then I'm out of bed and I'm jumping around and I go with my morning routine. And let me share this with you. Everything that I share with you, I do on a daily basis. Every morning, I set aside a couple of hours for my own self care. And this is crazy to tell people because, I'm single, I live by myself. What a luxury, right? What a great blessing. And a lot of you don't have the luxury. That's why I'm saying it's almost embarrassing for me to share this with you. But you know what? It is also intention, commitment, and action.
Action.
Because I have a commitment to really take good care of myself not only just for me, but also remember for the energy that I bring to everywhere I go. And because I have mission on health and wellness, I have to be well to do all this with you.
Walk the talk.
Hmm?
The talk.
The talk, yeah,
Walk
everything.
the talk. Walk the talk.
Walk the talk, yes, walk the
Yes.
talk, exactly. And we do this. I eat all the foods I talk to you about. I practice, I eat,
Yes.
and I've been doing this for, I don't know, over 11 years or whatever. Like optimal healthy foods like this. And before, pork rib soup, yeah, I've done that, all that. I cook all kinds of food at home. And I still do, like my family's in the US. I haven't seen them for 2 years, but once I get home, like they're gonna be desperate for my cooking. They want my kale salads, but they still want my roast chicken. But I make everything optimal healthy, you know?
Yes.
So that answers your
Absolutely.
question, right?
I remember when we had 10 chickens to cook for 100 people.
Mhm.
Teresa was there massaging all the chicken, massaging the leg, massaging the body, and making
Mhm.
chicken so tender. It was just awesome. Okay,
Yeah. And
question.
take care of yourself like you would take care of the chicken, because you know what, if you massage it, go get massages and do your breath work, your skin's gonna be better, your body's gonna have less tension, and therefore you're gonna feel better, and that's a better way of measuring your well-being, isn't it?
Yes,
you
and
know
she was
and
enjoying herself at the kitchen.
Yeah, and if you're overthinking, another way is some people don't realize that overthinking. And I know, like, I actually have friends who tell me, Teresa, I love to think. I'm like, okay, but don't overthink. Meaning, if you're thinking in the kitchen, if you're thinking on the bus, and if you're thinking in your sleep, hey, that's no good for your well-being, right?
Yeah,
Think
that's
about
right.
it. Now I've learned, in Chinese we say, I think most of you speak Chinese, there's divine timing for everything. There's timing for everything. So 万事有时，对吗? So, go to sleep, because that's not the time to think. Think when you need to think, and don't overthink, which is I learned. Don't overthink issues. Don't overthink problems, because that's another way of reacting. And
Yes.
reacting is negative, is not good for us. Okay, somebody else had a question.
Would you recommend taking supplements if one cannot
Ah.
get enough nutrients from natural food?
Yes. Now, usually, if you're eating adequately, and I would take this from my teachers and myself, is I would rather you eat well, get all your nutrients from your food, because food is the most natural form of nutrient that you could have, right? Edible nutrients. And today we talk about non-edible nutrients. Supplements are good, and I mentioned in the food and nutrition slide there your B complex. And by the way, B complex 100 is good for everybody, not just vegetarians and vegans, because that's actually, it's very good for managing stress. It's good for our neural system. Okay, so
All
make
right.
sure, yeah, make sure you have that. Supplements are good for you if you could digest them. Okay, so for me, like I've always had vegetarian and vegan capsules. I make sure I don't get gelatin capsules, because gelatin is made of what, some fish or beef supplement, right? Something like that, a byproduct of it, and it's hard to digest, for a lot of people. Like I usually take a vitamin D3 in liquid form, and that's very good for my bones, right? And so you have to see, remember I talk about awareness. You would be the right person to tell yourself, because you would monitor how your body will respond to each thing that you eat and consume. Okay, but I generally recommend the B complex 100 for everybody, the D3, and vitamin C is very good for this time. Selenium, right? Magnesium, all that stuff's good for sleep as well. By the way, I haven't mentioned one vitamin today, which is vitamin C. Sunshine. Vitamin C and sunshine. So if you're not in a lockdown, go by the water and have some nature, have some time with mother nature. And the sun heals everything, so we all need sunshine for positivity. And when we weren't able to go out, what I do is I stand, because I've got huge windows, like a balcony and huge windows. So I stand by with my back, because obviously I don't want to scorch my skin. I still have to keep my skin beautiful for camera and everything, right? So I stand with my back against the sun, and I just let it absorb. But now it's been so beautiful. I get up at about 5 every morning, and I start my nature walks at about 5:15, 5:30 when the days that it's not raining. And then I catch about 30 minutes of sun on the sunrise, and that's how I get my sunshine in. So you guys, it's important that you get that, vitamin sunshine in there. Yeah. Okay. What's the next
Okay,
question?
so other questions is already 8:30. So
Sure. Let's do that.
soup based with fruits, is it better than original fruit juice? Any advice?
What was the first part?
Soup based with fruits. That means they cook the fruits. Is it better to cook
Mm.
or to have fruit juice?
Okay. Now, fruit juices, there's a lot of controversy, right? Because fruit juices, so either you do it yourself, or you get ones that are cold pressed that are natural, no sugar added, or you get the ones that have sugar added. So you have to make your choices. But remember, I said sugar is sugar. Even if it's a natural sugar, we have to still watch out for our sugar intake. And of course, that depends on your body constitution and how much you could process the glucose and all of that as well. I tend to prefer a fresh fruit juice that I make myself, or better yet, eat the fruit as a whole, because it takes more fruit to make the juice, and that's going to double or triple your sugar content and intake. I'm not sure what you're cooking with your fruit in a soup. I tend not to make fruit soups, but like my mom does a lot of she'll cut up like watermelon, but she'll take the skin and she'll make like a pork soup with it with some Chinese herbs and the little things like that. And I grew up with that stuff, which is fine, which is great. Yeah, so it depends what fruit you're using, and but one of the things that I would advise is, if you're gonna do a fruit juice, um, I would do at least sweet. So the only fruit that I really tend to juice with is actually green apple. And I always tell the people who make my juices, can you just do a wedge of it, like 1/10 of an apple, and the rest would be vegetables. So that's how I like my juices, and the way to keep the sugar intake lower. And if you're watching out for your sugar levels, or if you have diabetes in the family, or other health concerns, I would watch out for that. Okay. And I mean, you could make your fruit compotes and all that stuff, but again, use berries, and green apples are better choices. Okay.
Berries are very strong in antioxidants.
Antioxidant,
Okay,
exactly.
the other question is a bit technical. The company Hira Lito, where I am working as an intern, they are using HRV, heart rate variability, to measure fatigue, one part of mental well-being. What is your perspective of this heart rate variability, or such numerical objective measurement regarding measuring mental wellness?
I
So,
think it's great.
so maybe you can go offline with Teresa to find out more, and can communicate at our Facebook group as well, Wellness for Good .energy.
Yeah, let me just get that in quickly, Veronica. I think it's good now. Guys, you have to remember, what I talk about is lifestyle, and it's self-awareness. And I give you tools that you can measure, and these are the things, but it takes practice, right? And it's also good, I think, the science tools, like Veronica uses, there's machines and stuff that you could see. So it's always good, I think, to have both. It's good to have both, and it's good to go get your body checks and your health checks and get your numbers in. And and remind, that's a good question, because the heart is actually a really good way to measure your mental health well-being. Because you know what happens with all the things that we talk about today, when your heart rate is what's happening? And you could notice that. And the thing is, because a lot of people don't pay attention, they end up getting a heart attack because they already have been stressed over time, over stress for an overly long period of time. And that's when it becomes dangerous, right? So this is why we have these lifestyle tools and lifestyle adaptations to pay attention and measure where we are at. And you know that. So besides the breath, it's good to use the heart, your heart, when it's pounding all the time, or when it's catching, like like this, something's not right. Really good way. And you know what, when your heart aches, I literally have people who tell me, like, my heart aches. What is that telling you? You're storing so much negative emotion. How could your well-being be good? How could you be well when you're aching? So, our heart aches a lot. Okay, when we store a lot of negativity, because we're only human, right? And remember, we vibrate the highest from the heart. So when
Yes.
when it's taking in a lot of negativity, it is vibrating at a very low level. And it's the same thing when we talk about this kind of vibration to the numerical heart rate. It's the same thing. When you say, Veronica,
Yes.
I think it's safe to say they're saying the same things.
Yes.
It's low vibration, low heart rate, or too fast heart rate, where it's also an equivalent of a lower vibration. Because it's like, you know what, I'm telling you, I'm under stress, you're killing me. You gotta slow down, or love me a bit more and be more gentle with me. So
Yes.
think about these things, okay? So, very good question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa, for your insightful sharing.
Thank you.
Much for creating awareness,
Yes.
health, and lots of activities and food for thought. Thank you so much. So now
Thank
back to my screen again.
you.
All right. So don't forget, those who haven't come to Adelphi yet, come for your energy analysis, come for your free energy therapy, your detox therapy, your eye therapy, service your body while you're still young and healthy, and also drink healthy water. Bring your drinking water for tests at our Adelphi as well. And also don't forget, don't live in a toxic home. Send your floor plan for audit. All right, send your floor plan for audit. At least you get to know what is the amplitude of your space that is being affected by geopathic stress or EMF. And join us at our Facebook group, Wellness for Good Energy, and all our speakers will be inside to answer all your questions. And this is my handphone number, 86939472. You can WhatsApp me, free Energia therapy, or you can go to our YouTube channel to watch all the lots of videos there. If you want to visit Adelphi, we are at B137. And every one of us take control of our health. We can create a world full of healthy and wealthy people. That's our long-term vision. And next week, we are very privileged to have a diabetic dietitian, Ujiwala Baxi. She is going to share with us 3 powerful sustainable diet mantras for mental health. All right. So don't forget to switch on your Zoom again at 6:45 p.m. on a Wednesday, 30th of June. Ujiwala will be starting her presentation at 7 o'clock sharp. The hypnosis. Are you losing your mind while keeping up with the new diet that you just read and started to follow blindly? Remember, good diet is essential for good mood and all the life purposes and tasks. So is your diet hurting or healing you at mental level? So in this impactful session, wherein I will be sharing 3 evidence-based, life-changing diet mantra. All right, so you are going to learn a lot more from Ujiwala next week. And also don't forget our closing. We have our guest speaker, Dr. Darren Chua. He is a medical doctor and he is also an entrepreneur. He is also an inspirational, motivational speaker. Now, how he actually got a stroke even before he started housemanship, and how he overcome his physical disability, he overcome his depression, he overcome his emotion to become an inspirational speaker. So you are going to be fully inspired by him. So tune in, block your calendar on the 10th of July, which is our closing summit. All right. Creating sustainability in pursuit of wellness. We are very privileged that he's going to share with us as our guest speaker on that day. So his hypnosis, mental and emotional wellness is a topic that has caught on recently, and it is about time too. However, we need to create sustainability in this endeavor to ensure longevity in this pursuit. So in this closing address, Dr. Darren will talk about sustainability as a choice and not just as a trend. Wellness as a state of being rather than just health, which is just the state of the body. So make choices that goes beyond health trend, wellness, sustainability. So it's going to be a very impactful session. So remember to block your calendar. All right. So Now it's already past 8:30 p.m. We want to thank Teresa all the way from Hong Kong, sharing with us so much of wisdom about health and wellness. Thank you so much, Teresa, once again. And we look forward to catch up with you in Hong Kong very soon.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Veronica.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody. Sweet dream.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you.
It was really good.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Indeed, 90 minutes is not enough.
It isn't, yeah. Why don't you guys stay on a bit, Veronica? I want to tell you something.
All right. Good.
Yeah, but stop the recording though.
Yes.
Yeah. What else are these other questions? What is the Facebook?